sincerely yours.
This is Real Deal Sports Talk with KP, June 21st, 2018.
Sincerely
Yo,
yours.
dear Reverend, I can't believe you're damn near 7. I wrote this letter to tell you that you a real blessing. And I don't even believe in heaven, with the exception, if it's really real, then no question that you would be the essence. You the best thing that happened since I met your mama. Nothing makes me happier than the honor of being your father. Ever since Shatana laid up in the labor room, I can't believe how much a new baby could really change a dude. You was a planned birth, walk around with diaper bags like a man purse. I was prouder than any man on earth. Your first birthday, time flies in the worst way, cause just the other day you was trying to climb out the learning cage. Now you running and jumping, laughing with so much joy, no greater satisfaction than when you holding your baby boy. Star Wars, dinosaurs, all the latest toys, I give it to you all, anything you could ever ask me for. I send a kite to the loved ones within my life, cause you're the inspiration for which I write. Sincerely yours. To my dogs who rep the squad from day one, we saying thanks, bruh, for embracing love. Sincerely yours. To all the fans who keep records spinning like ceiling fans and giving us a chance, your extended fan.
And welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk with your boy KP. How is everybody doing on this Thursday? It is the first day of summer, 4 a.m., marked it officially. It is now summertime. I hope everybody's happy. I hope you got good weather where you're at. I hope you got some plans when you get off of work, and or you had some fun stuff to do today if you got the summer off like I do from Denver Public Schools, where I spend my day job working as a school technology partner for Denver Public Schools, repping Denver Public Schools real quick. Glad everybody could be here today. There's a lot we're going to try and get to on this show. I mean, there's so much constantly going on in the world of sports. We have all the drama with the NBA free agency rumor mill kicking up better than ever before. We got the NBA draft tonight, the World Cup, the largest sporting event in the world going on. We got to check in what's going on there. Circle of Stars, second annual football and cheerleader academy is coming up. Dwight Howard has been traded again, and now it's being reported he might get bought out. Ring of Fame nominees, Jimmy Johnson, should he be in, should he not be in Dallas? Will he get into the Hall of Fame? Brett Favre, youth football, wants to end tackle youth football. We'll get into that. My man Leon White, Big Van Vader, passed away. Rest in peace. Thoughts to the family. And then at the end of the show, one of the funniest things I ever did see and hear around sports, if we have time. But we're going to kick off today's show. We're going to start off with the World Cup. It's the biggest event, so we'll give it the first slot on the show. We'll get into some of the scores that have happened since I talked with you guys on Monday. So kicking off with Tuesday's scores. We saw Japan beat Colombia 2-1. We saw Senegal over Poland 2-1. And we saw Russia go out and just score with a fury again, beating Egypt 3-1, as Russia is just, they are finding the net right now in this World Cup as the host team. On Wednesday, you had Portugal beat Morocco, which I think eliminated Morocco in the double elimination format. And who scores for Portugal to get that game-winning goal? That's right, Cristiano Ronaldo with his fourth goal of this year's World Cup. Uruguay beats Saudi Arabia 1-0. Spain gets past Iran 1-0 on Wednesday. Moving into today's games, Croatia right now is on top of Argentina 2-0. Australia and Denmark have gone to a draw. And France beat Peru 1-0. About to sneeze. Excuse me. Whoa, that one caught up on me. Snuck up on me. So, interesting storylines. The games have been great. I was talking to a friend last night, and she's been glued to her TV watching all of the games. And she's not a big USA soccer fan. She does like the game, football fan, on a more global level. So she wasn't even really aware that the U.S. didn't even qualify. So that was kind of a fun conversation to have with somebody that I know who she grew up playing soccer and really enjoys the game. So football, I'm going to get it for you guys one of these days. I'm going to get it for you, I promise. But that catches you up on where the games are currently. games that are going to be played tomorrow. You have Brazil taking on Costa Rica. Nigeria will play Iceland, the surprise team there. And Serbia, who's doing well, will be taking on Switzerland tomorrow. Soon we'll get into the actual cup play with the bracket and all that kind of stuff. Group A, Group B, this team, that team type stuff. But you get through this double elimination part first before you kind of get into that tournament type style of play. So that's where we are with the World Cup. That's where it is today. Cristiano Ronaldo is solidifying himself as, again, one of those top players. Argentina falls again. They go with a draw. Now they fall. Messi's not scoring. They've been shut out in both games, I believe. Not looking good for Argentina right now, or Messi. One thing, speaking of not looking good, Kawhi Leonard, all the rumors going around, I didn't mind him at first. I didn't care that he wanted out of San Antonio. I wasn't ready to burn a jersey or waste my money and be one of these crazy fans out there. It's like, I have to overreact. Let me go and burn my money away. No, never going to be me. That's not what I do. In fact, if I have your jersey, that means you probably retired already. You're not a current player who's going to go switch teams, and then I got this jersey that I look silly wearing. So, that's how I do jerseys. I'm not wasting my money. It's not that serious to me if a player decides to do the business side of the game and not stay loyal to the team when the other half of the game is the business side. If the team can play the business side, the players can play the business side. Baseball figured that out a long time ago. Basketball has figured it out. The NFL has not. And the NHL, in my opinion, hasn't either. So, as this story developed, as we started hearing more of the rumors and more of the talk about Kawhi Leonard and what's going to happen, is this meeting in San Diego or LA, is Popovich going to be there? What's it wrong? He only played 9 games. He quit on the team. He's a bad this. He's the worst that. Disrespectful. Blah, 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 blah. I didn't mind any of that. Because to me, that's the business side. The fans shouldn't like the business side of it. It's ugly. It's dirty. It's the part of the game, part of sports that nobody likes. But it exists. And Kawhi has every right to feel how he feels. And apparently he would like to leave San Antonio based on reports. He would like to be in LA. That would be his preference. I was fine with all of that. Then a report breaks or comes out. People start chatting that he and his camp or his representatives are going to be telling any potential trade partners that he's not re-signing with them and that he's going to LA in 2019. He has the 1 year left. Now that's to me where he made a mistake. I don't like that at all. You have every right to play the business side. You have every right to have a preferred place you want to play. But you are playing a game for millions of dollars a year. Have your preferences. You try and make things work to where you can get to where you want to go. But you don't turn down opportunities. You don't shut yourself off. You don't box yourself off. And you don't make yourself look like a bad teammate or somebody nobody wants to play with or take a risk on. Now, maybe there's teams out there, maybe all teams out there, don't see it that way. They just see a player who's really good, who can help their squad, who doesn't want to be in the situation or on the team that he's with, and they're going to start figuring out how they can acquire this asset. Not this person, not this player, not this, guy with feelings and opinions, but an asset. I can see that. I can understand that. But I can also see how that paints Kawhi in a bad light. how are you going to build trust? How are you going to build that loyalty if any of these other teams help you out by getting you out of San Antonio and you're not willing to re-sign with them? Everybody on the team knows, okay, Kawhi's here, but he's leaving. Then the chatter the whole year is, well, is he really hurt or is he just trying not to get hurt because he's really leaving next year? Look, everybody has a preferred place they want to play. Some people grow up, get the opportunity to play professional sports, and they always wanted to play for their hometown team. Some guys always wanted to play for that championship team that they loved when they were a kid. Respect the game enough to play for whoever wants to give you a job. Because you're one of the few who has that opportunity. Out of millions and millions that would have liked that opportunity, that would have loved that opportunity, that would have done anything for that opportunity. You've had the chance. You have the opportunity. You're one of the better players. So I didn't like that. I didn't like hearing that. The rest of it, hey, that's the business side of the game. That's going to happen. Fans are going to react stupid. So, he wants to be in LA by all reports. He's not going to resign, apparently. He's going there in 2019 either way. He's either going there now or he's going there as a free agent. Now, this meeting that supposedly happened with Popovich, maybe, maybe not. There were other Spurs players there that were also disgruntled. Maybe, maybe not. It was just Popovich and Leonard. Maybe it was in San Diego. Maybe it was in LA. But what we know is that, well, we don't really know anything because we weren't in the meeting, were we? But reportedly, he was upset that Popovich and Tony Parker weren't very supportive when he got injured. And he's just done. He wants to be in LA more than he wants to be here. And if he's going to do it and not resign anyway, might as well trade me now. So we get to, in this world, as fans and reporters and talk show hosts, we get to paint this picture of this guy however we want. And we get to make him look certain ways. And we get to erase all of the pedestal. Again, remember, we like to build these guys up on pedestals just so we can knock them down. The pedestal that we have put Kawhi on as being one of the top players in the game, maybe the best player in the game. Look at his defense. Look at his offense. Look how he's carrying this team. To now, he preferred to be in the shadows of Tim Duncan and Ginobili and Parker, and he can't handle the stress, and he doesn't want that. So playing in LA with other stars will take that away. And he turned his back, and he's weak, and let's paint this picture of this person. Because that sells, and that makes everything wow, instead of just being able to talk about what's real. And what's real is there's another side to sports on that level that is not just showing up with your brothers and being loyal. There is a business side. There is a lot of money involved. That changes everything. We see how teams do it to players. Players are now getting that power back on their side a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. That's my opinion. That's real talk. Now, players that, are reportedly joining Kawhi in LA, maybe a Paul George who's from LA. But depending on what report you read about that, OKC thinks they got a real good shot at keeping him. Yeah, they got knocked out of the playoffs, but that's their first year together. Let's build on that in year two. Let's get a piece or, not another max guy, obviously, but let's see what we can pull off here. The rumors that maybe Cleveland tries to get him. Report came out saying that they were willing to offer Kevin Love. Now, no, maybe we're not offering Kevin Love. Maybe Kevin Love's being offered for a draft pick high up in the draft. Maybe he's not. Maybe we're keeping him because we want to keep him even if LeBron doesn't come back. So many rumors out there. Paul George says he loves LA. The Lakers are the Showtime team. They would love to have as many stars as they could. Why not? Like I said a few shows ago, I want to see the best players on the best teams playing each other. I want to find a way for there to be less teams so more of the teams can have all of that combined talent. Now, that's never going to happen. We're never going to lose teams. Not at this point. The money would have to completely drop out of professional sports from fans for that to happen. Like, completely. But why not have a Kawhi, a Paul George, a LeBron, all on the same team? Or Chris Paul, James Harden, LeBron. And then try and figure out the right players around them, the right amount of shooters, the right amount of consistency in defense to then make a team run. So does Paul George end up in LA? Everybody keeps saying LeBron's going to make his choice based on family. There's reports out there, Gary Payton thinks Bronny's going to a school in LA, Sierra Canyon. Make his own little super team with Kenyon Martin's son and Scottie Pippen's son, who just did very well in that state tournament, if I'm not mistaken. Reports are he doesn't want to be in Houston, even though he's being heavily recruited by Chris Paul to go there. Chris Paul wants a max contract, says he doesn't want to be a Laker, doesn't want to go back to LA. It's going to be fun to see how this plays out, especially coming into the draft tonight. Do we see some crazy trades tonight? Some players being traded that we wouldn't have expected, some big names. I expect the Nuggets, Kenneth Faried, to make a move tonight. Maybe a Wilson Chandler make a move tonight. I expect some guys to be traded tonight. That's the NBA draft. That's the best part about the NBA draft outside of the lottery picks, really. Lakers say they have a backup plan. It might involve DeMarcus Cousins, bringing him in. Adding in, 2019 free agents, who there are a lot of. There's a lot of good guys who are going to be available in 2019. If you go through the list, Al Horford will be out there. Marcus Morris, just on the Celtics. You got Al Horford, Marcus Morris, Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, there's a team option on him. Jaylen Brown, there's a team option on him. That's just one team. If I went through every team in the NBA, we'd have all... D'Angelo Russell's going to be a restricted free agent. Marvin Williams, Dwight Howard is maybe going to be a free agent now. Kemba Walker is going to be out there. Gilchrist will be out there. Okay, I'm only through a couple teams right now. There's going to be a lot of available free agents. Kevin Love will be a free agent with a player option that year. I'm about, 5 teams through? Paul Millsap has a team option that year for the Nuggets. A lot of quality guys that are going to be out there in 2019. So do they slow play it if they can't pull off their main plan this year? I would. I sure would. Especially going into the NBA draft tonight. You go into the NBA draft tonight, and the one story I haven't liked out of the NBA draft so far is hearing that Mo Bamba told the Grizzlies, I'm not working out for you. I prefer to play somewhere else. I say, young man, if you have the opportunity to be drafted into the NBA by anybody, you take that opportunity. You respect it. Because, again, you're one of the few out of the millions that wanted that opportunity. So, picks in order tonight. You got the Suns, the Kings, the Hawks, the Grizzlies, Mavericks, Magic, Bulls, Cavs, Knicks, 76ers, Hornets, Clippers, Nuggets, Wizards, Suns, Bucks, Spurs, Hawks, Wolves, Jazz, Bulls, Pacers, Trailblazers, Lakers, 76ers, Celtics, Warriors, Pistons, Hawks. I believe the Pistons are the 29th. Let me check that. Yeah, I believe it's the Pistons. So that's the order of the draft tonight. Best available players according to ESPN. DeAndre Ayton, who for weeks now has been considered the number one pick out of Arizona, going to more than likely Phoenix. Then their best available after that is Luka Doncic. I know I pronounced that wrong. I'm sorry, Doncic, from Slovenia, shooting guard. And then Mohamed Bamba from Texas. Jaren Jackson Jr. from Michigan State. Marvin Bagley III from Duke. Wendell Carter from Duke. Michael Porter from Missouri. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Kentucky. Kevin Knox from Kentucky. Trae Young from Oklahoma. Colin Sexton from Alabama. Robert Williams from Texas A&M. Lonnie Walker from Miami. Mikal Bridges from Villanova. And Miles Bridges from Michigan State. That's the top 15 best available players in tonight's draft. And again, Bamba has said that he refused to work out for Memphis. I don't like that. I say you go be respectful because you never know. Maybe the guy running Memphis right now is running the team who potentially wants to give you a max contract when you're up for free agency. And you just burned a bridge professionally because what? Because nobody was smart enough to tell you just do the workout. We'll handle the rest later. There's a lot of people trying to trade up to that Grizzlies pick at number 4. So there's a good chance they draft him and trade him anyway. I mean, it's just not a smart move as you coming into the NBA. Now Puma is striking back. All of a sudden, they on the shoe game. They're on the NBA, shoe deal game. Getting some young NBA draft picks. Lifetime deal to Clyde Frazier. First NBA guy they signed, Rudy Gay. But they have DeAndre Ayton, Michael Porter Jr., Marvin Bagley III, Zaire Smith. They got Jay-Z on creative control of the brand. They are striking back. They said, look, we're coming hard. We've been absent. We've been a running shoe. We've been in track. But now we're back. And we're back with some of the top players in this year's draft. And if these guys take off the way everybody thinks they will, with Jay-Z on creative control, with Rock Nation, who's been working with Puma now for a while, that's going to be money. Now there's going to be more of a competition. Reebok's got to figure out how to get their name back, start signing some guys. Because Nike's got their thing. Jordan Brand's got their thing. Adidas is signing people up. Trae Young signed with Adidas. The kid out of Miami signed with Adidas. But Puma said, boom, here we go. Not only do we have these top guys, these guys that are going to be lottery picks, quite possibly, maybe the top 3 picks in the draft. We got Clyde Frazier. We also brought in Jay-Z. We'll just put that out there as well, Just putting that out there. Congratulations to Puma doing their thing, getting their name back in the market for sure. Back on the market, Dwight Howard traded again. It is trading season, and Dwight Howard is the prey. He, as everybody knows, he started off in Orlando. Great career in Orlando. Was putting up numbers. We thought when he left Orlando and went to LA to join Kobe, okay, now we're going to get titles. LA didn't work out so well. One season. So he leaves LA, goes to Houston. Spends a little bit of time in Houston, 3 seasons, I think. They ship him to Atlanta. He's in Atlanta for a year. They ship him to Charlotte. Charlotte for a year. Charlotte ships him to Jersey, the Nets. Now it's being reported by Chris Haynes this morning that the Nets are willing to work on a buyout to make him a free agent. So you traded away assets to bring in a guy that you don't want, quite possibly because he's not a good locker room guy and they don't want to mess up what they're building. They think he'd be great on the court, but not in the locker room. And, guys in Charlotte, you hear little chirps about, what he was like in the locker room, and they're fed up with his act. You heard a little bit of that in Atlanta. You didn't really hear a lot of that. Well, you heard some of that, but not a lot of that in Houston. Most of it was him and the coach in Houston. Him and Harden a little bit. And I have to side with Stephen A. little bit on this one. When he questioned whether or not leaving Orlando was the biggest mistake of his career, or should he have ever left. I don't think he should have. I think he should have stayed there, been the dominant front and center focal point of the team, had the team built around him instead of joining team after team after team that was already built and he needed to be a piece. Because Orlando could have continued to build around him. They could have put shooters around him. They could have put other defenders around him. He was a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in Orlando. And he's still averaging a double-double. Only other player I think who's done it as many years as he has is I don't remember the stats, so I'm not going to say it now. But it was him and Wilt Chamberlain that accomplished this feat that I don't remember. So traded again, and now maybe a free agent. And I think it was Bill Simmons I saw tweet out one long, giant, 175 character tweet of no to the idea and remembrance that Danny Ainge kind of likes Dwight Howard. And could he potentially end up in Boston? I've seen another guy tweet out a prognostication of what he'll be writing about in 12 months about how the Warriors signed Howard, and that's when it all went to hell. So we'll see what happens with Dwight Howard. He's out there again. This is a guy with, for whatever reason, since he left Orlando, the wheels have just come off the tracks for him. He hasn't been the same dominant force. It hasn't been the same consistent play. He has battled back injuries, and he hasn't been able to find a home. He hasn't been able to find that team where he can build that brotherhood, that family, that loyalty, that trust, that relationship, where he's around long enough with the right group of guys that makes it work. And now he's just this guy who's getting passed around the NBA. So hopefully, whatever team he ends up with, whether it's the Nets or somebody else, it's a situation where they can really build with him. Maybe put him next to a Kristaps Porzingis. Take some of that pressure away from him offensively. Have him be a rebounder, cleanup guy, low post. Could maybe work. I could see those two playing off of each other. We'll have to see. It'll be interesting moving forward to see what happens with Dwight Howard. Circle of Stars Academy.com. Circle of Stars football and cheerleader camp is coming up June 30th in Fort Collins, Colorado at Fort Collins High School. They have an awesome staff again this year. You can check them out at circleofstarsacademy.com. If you have interest in attending, you can contact Eric Anderson at 402-305-3724, or you can register online at www.circleofstarsacademy.com. We look forward to seeing you on June 30th. So June 30th, Real Deal Sports Talk with KP will be up at Circle of Stars Football and Cheerleader Academy camp, the second annual camp they are holding in Fort Collins this year, and we'll be covering it. We'll try and get some interviews with the coaches, with some of the players, some of the cheerleaders. We'll take some pictures and get those up on the site. It's going to be a fun day, so definitely check them out. If you can't make this camp, they have other camps in other parts of the region that you can attend for later this summer. So definitely check out their website. You can also see their information on our site, www.realdealsportstalkwithkp.com. Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson, the Teflon hair wonder. Does he belong in the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Fame? When I heard this, when I saw this, initially I instantly said, well, yeah, of course he does. So I tried to talk myself out of it. When it comes to sports, it's not that I try and see the other side on things or a different opinion, I don't think. I just try and talk myself out of my own opinion so that I have arguing points, so that I have things to kind of touch on. And with Jimmy, he wasn't with Dallas very long, 89 to 93, short span. Now, you hear some guys, especially here in Denver on radio, talk about you got to be with the team for at least 4 years. Okay, well, he meets that then. He was there at least 4 years. So nowhere near the amount of time Landry was the coach. He doesn't have the same kind of wins. His win-loss record in the regular season for the Cowboys was only 8 games over 500, 44-36. Now, in the postseason, they were 7-1. His first season with the team, they went 1-15. By the time he left the team, they were 3-13. They had won 2 Super Bowls. They quite possibly and more than likely would have won at least one more had he stayed. Because we know that same conglomerate, that same group of players, Barry Switzer was able to get 1 title out of. And he's nowhere near the coach that Jimmy Johnson was on the NFL level. Now, you can argue their college accomplishments as coaches. Go for it. But on the NFL level, Jimmy Johnson was almost like a Phil Jackson. He was able to get all of the big personalities, all of these guys, all of these key players to work together. Phil Jackson got all of the big personalities, Michael, Scotty, B.J. Armstrong, who, okay, he's not one of the greatest players, but he was a tough guy. Kukoc, Rodman, you name it, Horace Grant. Anybody they brought into that team, he was able to get them to work. Luke Longley, understand their role, accept their role, and do what he needed them to do. He did the same thing with the Lakers, with Kobe and Shaq and Robert Horry and Derek Fisher, and, roll the guys through there. That's more of what you need outside of just the knowledge of the game to coach on the top levels. You have to be able to manage personalities. And Jimmy Johnson managed some personalities. The Nate Newtons, the Larry Allens, the Darren Stewarts, the Emmitt Smiths, Troy Aikmans, Alvin Harpers, Michael Irvins, Ken Norton, Jay Novacek. All kinds of different personalities in that mix, but he brought them together as one. That was him. You can have all the talent. It doesn't always equal wins. Michael Irvin thinks they would have had 5 more Super Bowls if they would have kept Jimmy Johnson. Maybe. Maybe they three-peat. Maybe they don't lose to San Francisco in 95 in the NFC Championship game and they go on to win that one before, or 94, and then, they go 4 or 5 straight. Who knows what would have happened if it wasn't for his feud with Jerry Jones, who they were college teammates. And that's probably one of the few reasons that he's not in already, honestly, at this point. So, as I tried to talk myself out of it, and I know he's not Landry. He doesn't have the wins. He doesn't have the longevity. He was only there 5 seasons. But Landry's the only coach out of the 21 members currently in their Ring of Honor. He's one of 2 non-players. The other one is a GM whose name is I'm not remembering right now. You think about how good those Dallas teams were. The back-to-back. What he meant to the NFL. How he continued to coach with Miami and went on to broadcasting. I think yes, he deserves to be in the Ring of Honor for the Dallas Cowboys, and they should probably make that happen sooner than later. Another thing that probably needs to happen sooner than later, and I've been talking about this with various people for a couple years now, especially since all of the concussion talk has gotten so big. And I happen to agree with Brett Favre on this one, and this bill that's being proposed in Illinois that would ban or end youth tackle football until the age of 12. That means you are in middle school. That means your brain has developed more. Your muscle structure has developed more. I would even maybe take it a step further than that and say no tackle football until 8th grade. And then at that point, you start in with the basics of tackling. Now, they can still play football. They can learn all the concepts. They can do these 7-on-7 leagues. They can do flag football leagues. You can learn a lot of the same stuff. And then when your body's more physically ready, when you can be more physically in control, when the pads and the helmets don't make you look like a bobblehead running around on the field. Because more so than the adults, that psychological part that we've talked about on this show where you feel safe, that starts in the Pop Warner level. That starts when you're 7, 8 years old and you first put those pads on and you get hit and you're like, wow, that didn't hurt. I'm okay. I can do anything. I'm invincible. And when you do that as a kid, when you don't have full control, how many undiagnosed concussions start at the Pop Warner level with these kids who just don't have the control of their bodies to play a game like football? Now, yes, there are some very gifted athletes out there. I played with one, Dion Wainwood, who runs the Idaho Phoenix, who is a friend and a partner of this show. He could have played and did play. We all did back then, starting at a very young age. But he was physically gifted enough that you didn't see that ever with him. He was smooth and consistent and powerful and fast. We had guys on our team, while he was looking like that looked like bobbleheads with big helmets flopping around on little teeny tiny bodies. And when they would get hit, everybody would go, ooh, and hope that he got up. And you just can't see stuff like that. So I'm with Brett Favre. I do think it needs to end. I would take it a step further, like I said, and make that more of a 13, 14-year-old thing. But 6th grade, I could probably live with 6th grade. I don't think little kids need to be playing tackle. That's for us. That's for the parents that want to see that. So they can go, oh, look at my baby. He's so cute. My baby's so cute. Look at him run the ball. Oh, he's blocking. Score, score. And all that kind of stuff. When really they should be learning how to be a good teammate and sportsmanship and how to run the plays and how to study a playbook and hand-eye coordination and discipline and hard work and determination, and the list goes on and on. So we'll see how this bill passes, if it passes in Illinois, if football, what kind of research and data we're going to start seeing from that there. And it'll be it's going to be an interesting debate and an interesting change moving forward with whatever direction football ends up going. Great football player at the University of CU back in the 70s, Leon White, better known by most as Big Van Vader from professional wrestling. He was a CU football All-American out of Compton, California. Drafted by the LA Rams, played 2 seasons there before his patellas went out, and he ended up becoming a professional wrestler after they played the Steelers in the Super Bowl back in 79 or 80. A professional wrestler from many factions, many continents, best known again as Big Van Vader. I can remember as a kid watching him with Sting and Ric Flair. To me, he was the best in WCW. He was the Rocky Mountain Mastodon, they called him. And I was always told as a kid, and I couldn't find anything to back this up now, but I was always told as a kid that my grandfather, Warren Mitchell, had coached against him growing up. And that he had wrestled or played football somewhere here in Colorado in high school. I couldn't find anything to back that up, but he did play at CU. He was an All-American, great center, and he will be missed. Again, thoughts are out with his family. One of the best big men of all time. We're going to end the show today with this story out of Omaha. College World Series, baseball or softball, I'm not even sure. I didn't bother to look up what was actually going on in Omaha to go with this story. I believe it's college baseball. Mississippi State fan is in Omaha. I should have looked this up. I think it's the College World Series. In fact, I'm going to look it up right now while we're talking about it. But there's a Mississippi State fan who made it to Omaha for the tournament. And, it is baseball. And he's being interviewed, and he's so happy that he was able to get there, and he explains, and to quote, he says, "The sacrifices that were personally made to be here are incredible. My wife's boyfriend sold his prosthetic leg on Craigslist to afford me the opportunity to be here. But they got alone time, and I got to be in Omaha." Bro, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Your wife's boyfriend bought you a ticket by selling his prosthetic leg? Let's break that down and what's wrong with that. I'm a Lions fan. I would love, it's my top of my bucket list to watch a Lions game in Detroit. I would never, one, be okay with my wife having a boyfriend. Two, him somehow having a relationship with me where he can sell his prosthetic leg so they can have alone time and I could then go to the game. One, sir, congratulations on your fandom and being able to go see your team. Two, go home, get a divorce. Three, get a life, because this is craziness. That's real talk. Until next time, you know how we do. Just be real.
Yo, football's filler than all lyrics and song killers. I dissolve niggas with fireballs from the jaw spilling. No hard feelings, but y'all niggas is all filler. Rip apart buildings and standing taller than Godzilla. A full purple assault drilling. The ball feeling, no it's all in my mind. Soft the God's willing. Formulate the flow with finesse and in the highest fashion. The fire burning in my soul, my spirit's everlasting. Feel the rap, you rappers don't even stand a chance. Crushing everything in our path just like an avalanche. So resounding the flow is sounding so picture perfect blood, sweat and tears. Promise you that the shit is worth it. My words perfect, it never burns. The worst murder, now my pocket burning. Fire attended in church service. It's closed curtains for whack rappers who lack purpose. You should stop the rapping and put your ass in the back burger. Cause only way you can serve them is with a side of fries and verbal homicide. If you try and climb it, it's not at all. Like Miles Davis and Coltrane and Hathaway. Get your eardrum with a combination like Cassius Clay. Until this day, there's never been anyone to beat him. My rhyme records impetuous, so I'm undefeated. Deep rooted in street music, the definition. Like I'm in the gym doing exercise with repetition. I'm precise on the mic, like precision. I'm the nice spit, you can see it's clear as sight vision. With a sight for witness, I'm right for the sight for wisdom. I'm a night cipher with more balls than a likely prison.